Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing this evening? I know this is a different night than usual, um, but how is everyone doing tonight? God bless you, Miss Regina. God bless you, Jeannie. God bless you, Miss Misha. Thank you for coming out tonight to help mod the chat. Thank you, Miss Shunny, for modding the chat. God bless you, Miss Kathleen. Good to see you on. God bless you, Miss Lisa. God bless you, Miss Demetrius. God bless you, Jocelyn. Good to see you on tonight. God bless you, Levon. I'm glad to see some new faces. God bless you, Yolanda. Good to see you on tonight. Um, I'm gonna try my hardest not to keep you guys long. I did want to, God bless you, Theodore. I did want to do the live on Monday. Hey, Miss Bella, God bless you. But I wasn't able to, so I didn't want to wait to put this out. Um, I do want to start out by giving you guys a little bit of background before I share this because I want you guys to kind of understand where my head was and what I feel was the reason why God showed me this. But very quickly, I think a lot of you all have been paying attention to the midterms as well, this midterm election. And I know some people feel that we shouldn't be in politics or get involved. God bless you, ST. Oh, you're Celeste. God bless you, Celeste. I know some people say that we shouldn't be involved in politics and we shouldn't concern ourselves with it, that it's kind of a waste of time. Um, and at one point, I actually felt the same way. I didn't feel it was something that I really needed to pay attention to. But God really started helping me see things differently. For starters, He started being very intentional in the way He just kept showing me world leaders and the presidents and um, I knew there had to be a reason why He was concerning me about these people. Um, and just the way He's kind of just been helping me look at things from a different perspective. I mean, when you look at the fact that, we serve a God who operates from, a kingdom, like we are operating from God's kingdom, and within God's kingdom there is a government. We see all throughout the scriptures where it speaks about government, different rules, different kings that ran um in these governments. So I think it's not very wise to encourage or to make people feel as if they're wasting their time and that us being Christians, we shouldn't be involved or be aware or even pay attention to what's going on in our government because it's definitely something that we are supposed to pay attention to. We are supposed to be aware because God cares about these things too. Um, so basically, before I had laid down that night, I was just talking to the Lord like I always do. And a lot of times when I'm talking to the Lord, I really talk to Him like how I would talk to just anyone, I'm sharing my thoughts, I'm sharing things that I'm just not fully understanding. I'm asking Him to help me understand certain things. And like I said, I've been watching this midterm election. I was having so many questions and I've been feeling very strongly about certain dreams that the Lord has given me that has really been sitting very heavy on me. And I was just, like I said, just really talking to the Lord about all of these things. And so I just kind of ended my conversation with the Lord with basically saying, God, I know you're in control. I know there's a lot of things that I don't understand, and I don't fully know how you're going to move in these matters, but I trust you. And so I lay down. Now, when I lay down, there were multiple things that I saw, but I want to give you the most important points that I feel is very relative to what I believe the Lord was wanting me to share with you all. So I had this very interesting vision. I believe it was a very powerful vision. And I do want to start out by saying that I do not fully understand the whole interpretation of it. Um, and that was another reason why I wanted to make sure that if I did share this, I needed you guys to fully understand that I don't fully know the full interpretation, but I will share certain elements that I do feel very strongly about that I do believe the Lord was saying. Okay. So I had this vision on November 13th, which was this past Sunday. Now, it started out as a dream and it ended into a vision. So the portion that I'm going to share that was the dream, um, I was about to get into a car with someone. Me and my husband, we were about to get into a car, and all of a sudden, this woman that I didn't know in the dream, but the other people that were in this scene, I did know. And it was made known to me that these were people that were not only a part of my husband's side of the family, but there were people involved in this scene that I knew that um, used to go to a church that I attended years ago. Okay, so I knew the reason why the Lord was showing me this scene, it was representing the church in some kind of way. So just keep that in mind. So this woman who I didn't know, she just immediately started attacking me. And I can't remember what she was saying. I just know that she had it in for me. She didn't even say hello. It was like as soon as she saw me approach, she just immediately started accusing me, just saying the worst, just saying things that weren't true. And when she finished saying what she said, she looked at some of the people that were standing outside and she asked them, "Did I offend her?" Referring to me, "Did I offend her?" And they said no. And I was pretty appalled that they would respond no, because clearly she just attacked me for no reason. She clearly was saying things about me that weren't true. So she turned to me and then she asked me the question, "Did I offend you?" These were my exact words. I said, "You came at me and attacked me for no reason. If you knew me, you would see how much I love God. If you knew God, you would have discerned who I am." And as soon as I said this, I saw my husband sitting in the car and his eyes were full of tears. I mean, I've never seen my husband cry like this, but his eyes were just flowing with tears. And I truly believe that my husband in this scene represented the Lord. Um, so now the scene changes. This is where it turns into the vision. Okay. So the scene changes and it shows me in this car with these individuals. I didn't see the woman anymore. The characters change. So now I'm in a car with people that I don't know, but it seemed like in the dream I knew who they were. I didn't see my husband at this point either. So it's daylight. And all of a sudden, we pulled over to the side of the road. And I'm going to be as detailed as I possibly can because it was a lot going on and it was so powerful, y'all. So I get out of the car. Before I get out of the car, I had this sense, I can't explain why I felt this need to get out of the car, but it was almost as if my spirit understood that I needed to get out of the car because something was coming. So I get out of the car and I proceed to walk in this road. Now, mind you, there's no people standing around. There's no cars. It's just this road, this empty road, and I'm just walking out and I'm looking up into the heavens. I can't hear anything. I can't see anything. But all of a sudden I'm frozen. I'm just standing in place because I know something is coming. All of a sudden, I look up again and I see this huge plane, like the nose of the plane is creeping. I can't even hear an engine. This plane is not making a sound, you guys. It's quiet. This plane is creeping over my head. Now, as this huge plane is creeping over my head, I raise my right hand up to it to the point where I can't touch it, but it's almost like it's flying almost literally over my head. And as I'm moving my arm or my right hand in the direction that it's going, noticed that there was like this ripple effect. The best way I can explain it, it seemed like there was something that was piercing through another realm or another dimension. As my right hand is following this plane, I'm seeing the elements of the natural realm is changing. It has this wavy ripple effect to where it seems like with my hand being stretched out, it's piercing another dimension. Okay. So I see this huge plane fly over my head, and then all of a sudden I see a second huge plane. And I take my eyes off the first plane, my eyes are now locked on the second plane. And then I see a third plane. All of a sudden, I see this plane, this third plane is going in the direction towards this city. I don't know where I was. It didn't let me know where I was, but I knew it was heading into the city because it was these tall buildings. The plane ended up nosediving. As soon as I saw the plane nosediving, my instinct immediately was to run back to the car, and I dived inside the car to protect the driver that was in the car. And I told him and everybody in the car, get down. The plane is about to explode. I hear the plane explode in the distance. The next thing I do is I tell the driver, we need to get out of here. So the driver mashes on the gas and he takes off. Now, at this point, the it's now dark. It's not daylight anymore. Now it's dark. So as I'm seeing him flying through the street, I can tell he's literally panicking at this point. So I'm trying to calm him down. I'm telling him, you have to slow down. He's still just going full fledged on the gas. I tell him again in a calm way, breathe, slow down. Finally, he slows down, and I told him, come to a stop. I'm going to take over. You get on the other side. So he follows my instructions. He gets on the other side. Now, I want to stop here and tell you guys that the person that was driving, and this is the part that I really do not understand why God showed me this character, but this person was Courtney Vance. Many of you may not know who Courtney Vance is, but he is the husband of Angela Bassett. That may sound very strange because I felt the same way. I'm like, okay, this seems so random. Why would I dream about this guy? I don't follow him. I don't know anything about this man. I literally had to do some Google research on this man because I don't know why God would show me him, but I know God specifically showed him for a reason. So he's now in the passenger seat. Now, this is when I see my husband again. When he gets over on the passenger side, my husband slides closer to me to let this man get on the passenger side. So now we're driving, okay? All of a sudden, I hear these voices, and they sound like very strange, demonic voices. I'm driving, but at the same time, I can see in my peripherals. To those of you who are dreamers, when you're looking from God's eyes, He allows you to see things from all angles. It's very fascinating because a lot of times we may ask the question, how is it that God can see all of us all at the same time? When you're having these type of visions, you're able to see what that looks like. So I'm driving, but at the same time, I can see what's going on behind me. All of a sudden, you guys, I see this American flag. Now, the imagery that you see on the thumbnail, I intentionally try to blur it just a little bit to make it look somewhat like how I saw in the vision. It it wasn't a bright American flag. It looked kind of dark and dingy like. But I'm seeing out of the window this flag. It's just a flag. There's no pole attached. It's just a flag. It's literally flying next to the car. And as it's getting closer and closer to the car, these demonic voices that I'm hearing is getting louder and louder. And I knew that these voices were coming from this American flag. The flag flies into the back seat. Now, there were three males sitting in the back seat. I don't know who they were, and they were just three white males sitting in the back seat. The flag went to the first male and it wrapped itself around the man's head. As it was wrapping itself around its head, I could hear the voices still talking. The voices are so loud, and I couldn't make out what it was saying, but I knew it was literally like speaking things to this person to make them believe this lie. It was like it was indoctrinating them. They were speaking lies to make them believe what these, what they were saying to them. And as soon as they finished speaking, the flag would unravel from that person's head and it moved to the second person. And then when it did the same thing to the second person, the flag unraveled itself from that male's head, and then it went to the third person. By the time it went to the third male, this time they were no longer sitting in the back seat. Now they were sitting on top of the roof of the car. And by this time, you guys, now it's daylight again. So I'm still seeing this flag wrapped around the third male. When it finished doing what it was doing, the flag unraveled itself from the third male's head, and the flag flew back out of the window. And then all of a sudden, these three males who had been influenced by these demonic voices, it was like their whole countenance changed to where they now became enraged and they were ready to attack. And as soon as I saw that they were about to attack us, I was pulled out of the vision. Now, I know that's a lot, but that's exactly what I saw. Now, again, I don't fully know the whole interpretation, but what I will say is those three planes that I did see, I believe it was a representation of those demonic voices that I heard coming from that flag. Those three planes, I truly believe, were representing principalities. Now, the way God works with me, He knows my spirit is very sensitive. And although He has shown me a lot of hard things, He knows what I can handle and what I can't. So He showed it in a way where I could stomach, if you will, what He was conveying to me. Now, when I told you all that I extended my right hand and it was as if I was penetrating through a whole different dimension, a whole different realm. I believe the Lord was showing me again, it's what He keeps helping me understand what my right hand represents. It represents His authority. It represents, just the call that is on my life and how He's using me. And you guys, anytime we're praying and we're going in warfare, you better believe you're piercing that realm. You're piercing that spiritual realm. You're piercing the dimensions of where these high, ranking principalities are ruling and reigning. And so when I saw that plane, one of the planes nosedive, I believe it was because of the authority that I had that I was able to access that realm and bring down that stronghold, that principality. And I believe the Lord was showing me this too because He needed me to understand what I am really praying against, what I'm really, what is really going on from a spiritual point of view, why we're seeing what we're seeing in this nation. And so, as He was helping me understand that part, I was also led to understand that when it came to this American flag that had these demonic voices. Now, I want to be very clear. Before that American flag wrapped itself around these three males, these three men were ordinary men. They were like just ordinary guys. But as soon as that American flag wrapped itself around their head, which I knew the head was representing the mind, and as soon as they had that happen, their whole countenance changed. And I believe what the Lord was showing me is that these people that are, and I want to be very careful because I'm still seeking for understanding with this vision. But I feel very confident to say this. A lot of people that start out in government, they don't always start out with bad intentions. Some of these people truly are corrupted because of the associations they keep around them, the influence. And I think a lot of us have an understanding in knowing that sometimes these higher ups and these higher elites, they will kind of like get you caught up in things to kind of hold it as leverage over your head. And it's a lot of blackmail that goes on. It's a lot of corruption that goes on behind the scenes. And I'm not saying that to justify why a lot of good guys or a lot of good women go bad, but I'm speaking to the fact that this does happen. And I felt like what the Lord was showing me from a spiritual standpoint is the demonic influence that truly is over this nation. He was showing me the spirit that is at work over this nation. And I think to a lot of us who are spiritually aware and spiritually awakened to, things that are really going on, we can clearly see that there are some strong principalities, not just over this nation, but over other nations. That's a real thing. That's why we see in the scriptures when it says that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against all these other different, you know, rankings of spiritual um, encounters spiritual, demonic activities and just all these different rankings of demons. And I feel like too, because of the weight that God has put on me when it came to him instructing me to pray. Because you guys, even though I came on here, what was it, a week ago, and I did that prayer, God has been having me pray behind the scenes. This was just the first time he instructed me to pray before all of you all. But he's been instructing me to pray. He's been strategically telling me how he wants me to pray, what he wants me to pray about. I mean, there's so many things that God has been showing me in dreams that I don't always feel led to talk about. But, I will share this with you all. When the Lord told me to pray that day, he gave me a very prophetic dream that morning, which happened to be on the 7th. And I tell all of you guys a lot that God deals with me on the number 7. He's been doing it for a very long time. But he gave me a very powerful dream that morning. And it was very brief. November 7th, all I saw was I saw my cousin, and when she saw me, she said, "I believe you're the one God was talking to me about." And she immediately said, "This is what I heard." She said, "I heard," it was like she said, "The Lord said, I heard one singing the song of Deborah." Let me say that one more time. On November 7th, I had a quick dream. I saw my cousin. She stopped me and she said, "I think you're the one God was talking to me about." And I'm just standing there looking at tree and I'm like, "Well, what did he say?" And she said, "He told me I heard one singing the song of Deborah." Now, here's what's fascinating, you guys. A couple of weeks prior, or probably not even, maybe a week prior to me having that dream, the Lord led me to study Deborah. I never felt led to study Deborah, but he literally had me studying Deborah. When you look in the book of Judges, I think it's Judges chapter 4 and Judges chapter 5. In Judges chapter 5, I believe it speaks about the song of Deborah. The song of Deborah was a victory. It was a song of victory where God had delivered the enemy into their hands. God gave Deborah a word and told her to relay the message to the leader or the captain of the army. And she told him, "If you do this, God said he will deliver the enemies into your hands." And he told her, "If you go with me, I will go," because he knew the Lord was with her. And she went with him, and God did what he said. He delivered the enemy into their hands. And there came after that the song of Deborah. It was a song of victory. So when I woke up from that dream, I understood what the Lord was saying. It was like a confirmation. He was sealing it for me to let me know, yes, this is me. Yes, this is me telling you to pray. And I want you to pray this way. I want you to go on your channel and I want you to do a corporate prayer over the nation. So everything that I do, everything that I say, I really try my hardest to make sure that it is spirit led because I cannot afford to come in my own flesh. I can't, because I respect God, I fear God, and I'm not trying to mislead or deceive anybody. And I know I've been saying this a lot here lately because I've been put in some very tough positions. God has been asking and requiring so much from me here lately. And it is bigger than I've ever had to I've always walked with the Lord, but where he has me right now, it is so hard. It's so hard. But it's like the whole time, it's like, I'm just like, Lord, I'm going to trust you. If you want me to say this, I'm going to trust you. But I'm telling you guys, this has not been easy for me. But it's like, this is what he was telling me to do. And so here it is, a week later, I get this vision. And it's like, I truly believe the Lord is giving us some insight to what's really going on behind the scenes. Another dream that has been really weighing heavy, I mean, tough in my spirit, is the dream that I had regarding hearing the word governance. When I told you all that I saw the youth interrupting this whole Obama speech. Now catch this, you guys. In that dream, I told y'all I saw Obama giving this speech, and I couldn't understand, why would I be seeing Obama giving the speech? He's not president anymore. He can't even be president anymore. How will he be out here giving speeches? And he even said, if you voted for Trump, that's fine. And I'm sitting here thinking it was during, this was going to come to pass some kind of way during the time when Trump was campaigning for presidency. And it's like now, when we look at what was going on with this whole midterm elections, what was Obama out here doing? Campaigning for all the people that he was supporting in the Democrat race. And one of my subscribers sent me a video, not knowing that I had already seen it, but I had seen this video circulating where Obama was literally giving a speech, and this younger generation, these group of young kids or young adults, were chanting that whole saying with Joe Biden. I'm not going to say it because, I don't cuss, but I think y'all know what I'm talking about. They were literally disrupting his speech to the point where there were many times he kept trying to readjust himself. He kept trying to like chuckle and smile. But I'm telling you all, when you look at his body language, he was furious because in his mind, this ain't supposed to happen to somebody like him. You have to understand, Obama is very arrogant, and he knows who he is, and he's ready to operate in that place. He's ready to become who a lot of us believe he is. But again, Satan is holding him back. And I know some people don't like to hear that, but some of us who understand scripture and understand that there are still things that haven't been fulfilled yet know that that has to be true. God is still holding him back because there's still more that God is doing right now. But when you saw how he responded, he was furious. It was like they shut him down to where he couldn't really say nothing. And it was bothering him. It was literally getting under his skin. And I've been thinking about that dream because it's like, okay, you spoke the word governance to me. Y'all, I know God's voice. He spoke governance as clear as day in my right ear. And all I could see in the rest of that dream was unity. And it was intentional why God showed me these youth that interrupted his speech came in by twos, and they had on the red sleeve and the blue sleeve, and when they would join their hands together, it was showing the red and the blue coming together. It didn't fully make sense then, but it's really starting to make sense now because people at this point, I'm not saying all, but there are a lot of people today who were just solely voting Democrat. And now they're like, look, I'm not even trying to think about if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican. Like, we need to turn this nation around. What about the nation? Like, real people are being affected. I don't know about the states that y'all are living in, but me and my husband have been blown away. Every time we drive on our streets, we are always seeing all these license plates from different states. I'm seeing Washington, California, Texas, Oregon, Minnesota, Florida, North Carolina. I'm like, what in the world? Virginia? Like, people are running, trying to find some place that they can live and raise their children in peace and in sanity. People are desperate for change, desperate for normalcy. And that's why I feel like that dream is starting to really make more sense, because it's, when you look at Democrat, Republican, even that within itself is a divide. It's dividing people. But what I saw in that dream, it was unity, it was togetherness. So there's a lot of things that God has been showing me, that He's been talking to me about. And I don't always feel led to come on here and say things, because I have to be clear. I have to be sure. I have to be sure. But I believe partly what the Lord was showing me with this American flag, He's showing me the spirit behind it. Yes, we see the corruption. Yes, we see the deception. Yes, we see how they're lying, how they're fabricating things. There is a lot of hypocrisy. We see all the shady stuff going on. We clearly see how they're intentionally trying to destroy this nation. We see it. And God is showing me it's this spirit. This is how they're getting into the minds of the people. A lot of these people are coming in with good intentions, but this spirit is so determined to destroy this nation. And I truly believe that the Lord was showing me this, not just so I can be aware of it, but so I can really know how to be strategic and how to pray. See, it's one thing to say, Lord, save our nation. That's a start. But when you're really digging deep, and I'm talking about you're fighting and you're going into warfare, you gotta come to those principalities, and you gotta come to them, and come with faith, and knowing who you are, understanding that God gave you authority to pray and come against these principalities so that they will fall. And I believe that's why God showed my right hand being extended to the point where my authority pierced through their realm. And the result was, it was able to cause one of those principalities to fall. I understand more and more why God keeps showing me my right hand. Do y'all know how many dreams and visions I've had where I'm seeing my right hand attacked? The same way God is showing me power and authority coming from this right hand, where I'm seeing healing, where I'm seeing, people being saved and set free, where I'm being shown me doing supernatural things with my right hand. I'm calling down fire from heaven with my right hand. The same way God is showing me that same authority and power that's in my right hand, the same way the enemy has been attacking my right hand. I have seen dreams of snakes trying to bite my right hand. I have had dreams of seeing ferocious dogs coming and attacking my right hand. I even saw in a dream where Obama himself tried to bite my hand, but I was speaking to him in my prayer language and he could not do it. Just like I know who I am, Satan knows who I am. And that's the thing. If Satan can convince you that you are not who you think you are, you will never walk in the authority and the power that is in you. You will never be able to fulfill purpose. you will never be able to fulfill your destiny because you will be afraid, not just to walk in it, but you won't be able to recognize who you are because Satan is always going to be after your spiritual identity. He don't want you to know who you are. So understand, we knew from a surface level, and some of us may have already just knew from a deeper place that it's something deeper what we're fighting against here. But when the Lord showed me that American flag with those demonic voices attached to it, and how it was wrapping itself, it was locking into the mindset of these individuals, and it was brainwashing these people to believe the lie to the point where the outcome was to kill. And I didn't feel it was a literal kill. I felt like it was showing that these people were now on board to go with the agenda, destroy at whatever cost. So this is what I wanted to share. Like I said, I don't have the full understanding, but I do want to let me say this too before I get off here. It was very specific why I encountered that woman. See, here's the thing that the Lord started speaking to me about today. That woman came right before I got into that car. Catch this for a minute. My purpose for even being in that car was so that I could take control of the vehicle. The person who was driving the car wasn't in a spiritual condition to know what was going on. He was going to kill everybody in the car. But God had me right there to get him to a point where he could slow the car down and have me take over. But I wouldn't even have been able to get in the car if I had allowed that woman to, if I would have allowed her to hurt me so bad or to affect me in a way where I wouldn't have been able to get in that car. What's very sad about that was this was a woman who was representing the church. You think Satan ain't using people in the church to further his agenda? I hope I have a lot of people listening right now that do understand that that is a real thing. Satan is using everybody he can, whether you're in the church or not. And that woman was put in place to try to deter me from getting into that car. And I find it so fascinating that I would respond the way that I did. If you knew me, you would know that I love God. And if you knew God, you would have discerned who I was. Do y'all understand what was just said right there? See, there's a lot of people in the church that are attacking people that truly belong to the Lord. And if you really knew God, if you really had God's spirit, you wouldn't be attacking and putting your mouth on people because you would know who God is. Because if you knew that, you would discern who these same people are that you're putting your mouth on. God uses people. I'm sorry. Yes, God does use people in the church. But what I wanted to say was Satan does use people in the church. Discernment. There will never be a time where y'all will not hear me talk about discernment because it is vital. Discernment is a requirement. It is a requirement if you want to successfully walk this thing out with the Lord. Yes, God's grace and mercy will always be with you. Yes, He will always be there to pick you up when you fall. But come on, at some point, we got to get this discernment down. We got to get it. We have to. There's a lot of people out here professing to be of Christ, and they don't have His Spirit. They can't even discern who really belong to the Lord. That's crazy to me, and that's dangerous to me. The people that I come on here and I talk about are the people that God has revealed things to me about, and He told me to come on here and share these dreams. I've had a lot of dreams about a lot of people that I have never put out here on this channel. I have had a lot of dreams about a lot of people that I have not put out here on this channel. If God has not told me to share it, I'm not going to share it. But if He tells me to speak on a matter, I'm going to speak. And just like I said in a live a while back, when certain people were trying to condemn me for speaking on certain people that they felt were untouchable, as if God is going to strike me down because I spoke on this person that you hold to such a high standard. If God is taking the time to reveal things to me about these people, He made it my business. God doesn't have to show me these things. God doesn't have to show me not one thing. But if He chooses to show me anything about anybody, it don't matter how big or small you are. He's making it my business. And if He's telling me to come on here and share what He revealed to me, oh, He's definitely making it my business. Because this is what He told me to do. I listen to what God tells me to do, not what other people tell me to do. Because I'm not living for you. I'm not living for people. I'm living for God and God alone. And like I said, we're so I feel like the church has lost its courage. The church has lost its strength, its power, its authority. Like they don't know who they are anymore. Everybody's afraid to tell the truth. Oh, you shouldn't say that. Oh, you should talk about that person. Why? They have blood running through their veins just like I do. God is not looking for people that's just going to worship Him behind closed doors. He's not looking for people that's only going to admit that something is true when nobody can hear you. No, He's looking for people that are going to be bold, that are going to be fearless, that are not going to be intimidated to speak the truth and stand for truth and righteousness. That's who God is looking for. Not you wavering because you're scared to say this, but if somebody else says it, then you'll flock on that side. And no, you speak up and say what's true, even when nobody else is. That's how you do that. Like we're not supposed to be cowards. If you truly believe that God is for you, why are you afraid to say what is true? A lot of the stuff that God has been having me do, it's scary, but I do it because I trust him. I trust when he said, if I am for you, who can be against you? Not what human being can be against you, but that even applies to even these demons. Who can be against you? If we believe that all power resides in God's hands, what are we fearing? Either you believe in God or you don't. Either you trust him or you don't. There is no in between with that. And I have made up in my mind a long time ago. I have come too far. I came too far almost 20 years ago. So what do I look like now because he's requiring more from me and I'm in new territory where I'm like, okay, you know what, Lord, I was with you, but this is too much. I think I'm just gonna go back. Are you crazy? No, I'm all in. I'm all in. And even me saying that, I understand that I'm gonna be tested in this. Everything you speak, you're gonna be tested in it. Everything you learn, you're gonna be tested in it. When God gives you truth, you're going to have to walk in that thing. This is training ground, y'all. You thought you was just going to be able to sit in the classroom and just be endowed with all this knowledge? No, you're going to be put through some stuff. You're going to have to walk this stuff out. All this knowledge that you've been absorbing over the years, all this word that you've been feeding yourself and consuming over the years, you're going to have to demonstrate that you got it, that you understand it. That's what this life is. It's a walking training ground. We're walking this thing out. We're walking, we're learning. We're walking, we're learning. You may fall, that's all right. Get up, you're relearning, but you still got to walk it out again. You're always going to be tested. You can't avoid that. And some people are so afraid of the test that they willingly just be stagnant because they afraid to move, because they don't want to be tested through nothing, because they don't want to go through nothing. That's a miserable life. How do you go through your whole life not experiencing no growth, no maturity, because you're afraid to go through stuff? Life is hard. It's only easy when you're not going through nothing, when you're not trying to be bigger. I mean, not bigger, trying to be better. Like every day is an opportunity, y'all, for us to grow and evolve. I'm gonna stop rambling. I'm still praying on what the Lord showed me recently. This was a very powerful vision. It was very telling too. And I think, like I said, the highlight was the Lord was wanting me to see these are the principalities that are at play behind this nation. This is why we see what's going on right now. This is why we're seeing it. Even when you look at some of these states where it's like we scratching our heads trying to figure out, okay, now how in the world did that just happen? We have to understand that there is a power struggle here. Like, what, let me rephrase that. There is a war in the spiritual realm where they're trying to hold on to this power. There's literally there's yo, we got to know how to pray. We got to pray different. We got to start attacking these principalities. That's how we need to be going into warfare. And I'm going to leave it at that. So pray on this, you guys. If any of you have any type of thoughts on why I would see this character, Courtney Vance, again, this is Angela Bassett's husband. Now, I do know when you think of Hollywood, I'm not saying all people in Hollywood, because you do got some woke people in, and I said I wasn't even going to start using that word woke. I don't even like the word woke anymore. They just whew. But there are a lot of people in Hollywood that just kind of go with the flow. They go with the agenda. We know this. So I don't know if he kind of represented that. I'm not sure, but if any of you have any thoughts on what he could have represented, I just know God used him as a character for a reason. I do know that. Um, but I appreciate you all for taking the time to come out tonight. I know this is not the day I normally do lives, but I'm glad that a lot of you all were able to come out tonight. I do appreciate that. Since I did come out tonight, more than likely I will not be doing a Friday live. I think I've really been kind of taking more time away from my normal interactions on social media and also with my Zoom group. I kind of put that on pause because I just felt like God had me in a new strategic place where I really needed to get closer to Him and really just be kind of free from any additional responsibilities that would kind of take me away from where He wants me and what He's wanting to do in this season that I'm in right now. So I miss all of you, all of my Zoom group members. I love you guys. I miss you all. Um, and yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I feel like at this point I'm kind of rambling. But I love you guys. I'm sorry I wasn't able to get to a lot of you all's comments, but as I always tell you all, I will read your comments in the playback. Of course, if I receive anything else, I will definitely let you guys know. I hope you all have a blessed week. I hope you all have a blessed weekend. If I don't come on here and see you all before Thanksgiving, to those of you who celebrate Thanksgiving, I would like to wish you all a happy Thanksgiving. I'm sure I would put something out on my community post beforehand, but I really love you and I care about you all. And I just appreciate you all. I really do. Um, but yeah, I look forward to any other comments that you may have, whatever you may get from what the Lord, I mean, when I ask for your feedback, I think a lot of you guys understand. I'm, look, for the most part, I get what the dream was showing me, but I just feel like there were um, certain elements that I feel I just don't have. So if there's anything that you can contribute or you would like to add to, please feel free to do so. But for the most part, I get the foundation of what was shown to me. But yes, I love you all. I look forward to reading your comments. And yeah, y'all have a blessed night. And as always, stay in prayer, stay in faith, and most importantly, stay close to the Lord. I love you all. God bless you. Bye.